Pana pari majanakari cheta darpana pari majanakari Krishna kirtana jaya cheta bihari Krishna kirtana jaya Cheta Vihari Hela Bhavadava Nirvapana Vritti Hela Bhavadava Nirvapana Vritti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Klesha Nivritti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Klesha Nivritti Shreya Kumuda Vidu Jyotsna Prakasha Shreya Kumuda Vidu Jyotsna Prakasha Krishna Kirtana Jaya Bhakti Vilasa Krishna Kirtana Jaya Bhakti Vilasa Vishuddha Vidya Vadu Jivana Rupa Vishuddha Vidya Vadu Jivana Rupa Krishna Kirtana Jaya Siddha Swarupa Krishna Kirtana Jaya Siddha Swarupa Ananda Payo Nidhi Vardhana Kirti Ananda Payo Nidhi Vardhana Kirti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Plavana Murti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Plavana Murti Pade Pade Piyusha Swada Pradata Pade Pade Piyusha Sada Pradata Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Vidata Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Vidata Bhakti Vinoda Swatma Snapana Vidana Bhakti Vinoda Swatma Snapana Vidana Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Nidana Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Dina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. The golden complexioned savior of the age of Kali, Sri Gauda Hari, sings as follows, overwhelmed with bhava. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which cleanses the mirror of the heart and delights the soul. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which, even if chanted indifferently, has the tendency to extinguish the forest fire of material existence and end all suffering. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which casts moonbeams upon the white lotus of good fortune, causing it to bloom, and which is a loving pastime of bhakti. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, the life and the bride of transcendental knowledge and the embodiment of perfection. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which is glorified for expanding the ocean of transcendental bliss and which is the embodiment of the deluge of prem. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which bestows the taste of nectar at every step. This chanting is the fountainhead of pure love of God. All glories to Sri Krishna Kirtan, which bathes the soul of Bhakti Vinod and which is the root cause of prem.
Did you say Radha Krishna? Four. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Because you missed it yesterday. Rati sukha sare gatama bhisare madana manohara vesham Rati sukha sare gatama bhisare madana mano haravesham nakurunita bini gamana vilambana anusarata mrida yesha dhira samire yamuna tire बसते वने वनमाली बसते वने धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे नाम समेता कृतसंकेता वादायते मृदो वेणु ओ बहु मनु ते तनु संगता पवन चलितमपि रेणु धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे अपतति पतात्रे विचलति पात्रे शङ्किता भवादुपायानम् तात्रे विचलति पात्रे रचयति शयना सचकितनयना पाश्यति तव पन्तानं पाश्यति तव धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे मुखरमधीरा त्याज मञ्जीरा रिपुमिव केलिसुलोलम् चलस की कूच सतिमिर पूजा शीलाय नीलनी चोला धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे उपहित हारे घनैव तरलबलाके तदेव पीते रति विपरीते राजसे सुकृत विपाके तीरसमीरे यमुना तीरे धीरा विगलित बसना परिरित रसना घटाय जगनमपि दाना परिरित रसना घटाय जगनमपि ओ किशलय शयने पंकजनयने निधिमिव हर्ष निधाना निधिमिव हर्ष विदाना धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे हरिरभिमानी रजनिरिदानी इयमपि याति विरामम् कुरु मम वचना सत्वर रचना ओ पुराय मधुरि पुकामा मधुरि पुका धीर समीरे यमुना तीरे श्री जय देवे कृतहरि सेवे बनति परमा रमणीया प्रमुदित हृदया हरिमति सदया वसते वने वनमाली वसते पीन पयोधरा परिसर मार्दना अचंचल करायोगशाली चंचल करायोगशाली राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे राधा रानी की जय महारानी की जय ओ वृषभानु दुलारी की जय 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 ओ वृषभानु नंदिनी की जय 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 वृषभ बोलो राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे ओ बोलो राधे 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 जय जय श्री श्री राधे ओ हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधारमण बिहारी राधारमण बिहारी राधे जय गुरुदेव 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 जय गुरुदेव अनिताय गौरा हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल ताय गौर प्रेमानंद describing the beautiful atmosphere of Vrindavan, Dhira Samire, the soft, beautiful, soft breeze flowing Yamuna Tire on the banks of Yamuna, Vasati in the spring season, Vasati Vane Vanamali in the beautiful Vanamali, Krishna, and the song is describing Radha and Krishna's very intimate love play in the kunjas of Vrindavan, and Nama Sameta Krita Sanketam, that Krishna is weaving weaving Srimati Radhika's name. What was it, Vasanti? You were reading Krishna's weaving Srimati Radhika's name into his flute song. And Krita Sanketam. What else? That her name is, it was similar to Yasya Kadapi Vasananjala, that Krishna's like becoming so intoxicated and feeling his life so fortunate by the breeze, by the smell of Srimati Radhika, the beautiful smell that's coming from Srimati Radhika. And it's describing Srimati Radhika's beauty. I don't want to get into too many details because it's very PG-13, but describing all the intimate love play of Radha and Krishna. I don't know. There's more, but do you want me to say it? Because it's really high. I'm shy.
Okay. Show me where the translation is and I'll explain it tomorrow. Agyanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Fifth canto. Gurave, fifth canto. Radhikaya Tvudalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah. Yang pravarjantam manupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano virahaka putriti tanmayataya taravo benedos tang sarvabhut hridayam Muni Manatosmi Bhaktya Vahina Apurada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamaitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi, Najivami Tambina, Iti Vigyaya Radhe, Tam Nayamam Charanantike. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Bhat. Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudevs. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather Guru Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates and to all the assembled devotees, and to the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus who are my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So before beginning the discussion, I just want to take us back a bit to 1968 in Boston, and the Didis there, Radha Ballabh, had just been installed. So Srila Prabhupada began upping the bar. Is that how you say it? Raising the bar. So he looked around the room and he saw all kinds of varieties of sitting postures. So he went around the room, sit properly with crossed legs, sit properly with crossed legs, sit properly with crossed legs. And then he came to Pradyumna, who had just had an operation, hernia operation. So he said, sit properly with crossed legs. Oh no, you are suffering, that is all right. So anyone who's not suffering, okay, thanks. So where are we? I missed a few days. Unfortunate for me. Did you begin already the sixth? You ended the fifth canto? Volume 1 is, yeah. This is more. So you haven't yet begun Volume 2. For a recap. All right, so let me know if I heard you right. So Pariksit Maharaj, the king, is asking his Gurudev, Sukadev Goswami, that I've just heard what you told me about King Bharat's instructions to King Rahugana about the illusory material world and the miseries of the material world if someone has identification with it. So please give me a summary, recap of that, explain it so that I can understand it more fully. Okay, so here we are. When King Pariksit asked Sukadeva Goswami about the direct meaning of the material forest, Sukadeva Goswami replied as follows: My dear king, a man belonging to the mercantile community is always interested in earning money. Sometimes he enters the forest, this is the forest of material enjoyment, to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Similarly, so this is all full of analogies. You all know what an analogy is? Okay, this represents that. Similarly, the conditioned soul, that is the soul fettered by matter, stuck in the material body and identifying with it, and full of 4 defects, which is,
propensity to cheat, make mistakes, fall under illusion, and imperfect senses.
Good. Similarly, the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters the material world for some material profit. Gradually, he enters the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external illusory energy. It's like a phantasmagoria. It's not really as it seems. It's like a show, a phantasmagoria show. Under the control of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So why would Krishna do that? Why would Krishna create an illusory, miserable world just to give us suffering? Yes?
My understanding is that there needs to be a place where we don't love him, so that we can live in and learn to love him.
So Sankirtan is saying, so we need to be a place where there's no love. the option to not love him. Well, that was there just in our constitution. The option to not love him is there in our constitution because we're supplied with free will. And without free will, Jamuna, you better love me or else. And you better be on time for this class or else. So it's not inspiring. So you can come. You might want to love me or you might want to just fall fine with me. It's up to you. So it's more endearing to give free will. So why this material world? Why this material world? The child, little girl, wants to cook. She's 5, 6 years old. Can she cook? If she'd cook, she'd burn the whole house down. So the mother gives a little toy stove with little clay pots and little clay foods to cook. But it's not real. It's just a play. So Krishna gives us this play world, but it has lessons in it. We gave the example on Sunday that we want to be God, so Krishna gives us the illusory world to become illusory gods. To suffer by trying, like isn't it that every day we go in the wrong direction and then Krishna immediately gives us a kick so that, oh thanks, and then we go back in the right direction? So that's the purpose of the creation of the material world. Or a, what do you call that? Goldsmith or a blacksmith is beating the ore with a hot hammer just to get the gold out. So Krishna beats us, but it's not really beating because it's just a dream. He puts us in a dream so that we can imagine that we're suffering without him, and then we want to come out. And then when one wants to come out, like real human life, there's always suffering in different species. But the human life has the ability to inquire, well, wait a minute, why am I suffering? Generally people think because we're not on the human form of life, because we don't have good pious activities in past lives, we think, all right, let me go to the doctor. But a person who has really come to the purpose of human life will ask, well, why do I have to suffer anyway? Is there a way out? Is there a God? If so, how can I connect with him? Yeah. Loud? Like what?
Like very long separations, or fighting pastimes.
There are fighting pastimes in the spiritual world as well. There's long separations in the spiritual world as well. Krishna left Vrindavan 70 years before he saw them again at Kurukshetra. But this is one of the pastimes of Krishna. If this material world did not have this pastime, then Krishna would not be complete. And what is this pastime called? Shristi Lila. You people are smart. Shristi Lila, or creation Lila. So therefore, when it's stated in the scriptures that we're always in Krishna's pastimes, it means this Shristi Lila is one of the pastimes. When the living entity comes under the control of the illusory energy, Daivi Maya, living independently and bewildered in the forest, he does not attain the association of devotees. who are always engaged in the service of the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of body. Is anybody here lonely? You know why you're lonely? It's because we can't really see anything out of our senses. We look out, but we're just going to the gate of the object of the eyes. We're all seeing different things. So we're just looking out into our illusion. And so we're not really together with anybody. When we come together with Krishna, then we come together with everybody. Like the dust on the mirror of the heart, and then the chanting cleanses that. So when there's dust on the mirror of the heart, can you see yourself in that mirror? Well, can you see anyone else? Can you see God? Right, so we're just seeing dust. So once he gets the bodily conception, he gets different. So we're really walking around like this. You know what I mean? Seeing sights of blindness and sounds of deafness. So we need each other's help. We need the help of the scriptures and devotees. He gets different types of bodies, one after another, under the influence of the material energy, and impelled by the modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. In this way, he goes sometimes to the heavenly planets, and sometimes to the earthly planets, and sometimes to the lower planets. You know the Ferris wheel? Like that. Thus he suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. These sufferings and pains are sometimes mixed, sometimes severe, sometimes are not. These bodily conditions are required due to the conditioned soul's mental speculation. He uses his mind and 5 senses to acquire knowledge, and these bring about the different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy, Maya, the living entity suffers the miserable conditions of material existence. He's actually searching for relief, but he's generally baffled, although sometimes he's relieved after great difficulty. And then he calls that happiness. Like Prabhupada gave the example of the snowstorm. Remember that one? A man is in the snowstorm and trying to get in the house. It's blowing, it's snowy, it's freezing, it's ice. And then he quickly comes in the house and closes the door behind him. And then he thinks he's happy. But as soon as he gets in his house, there's another problem. Struggling for existence in this way, he cannot get the shelter of pure devotees, who are like bumblebees engaged in the loving service at the lotus feet of the Lord. Do you remember the example of those who are from Hollywood must remember the example of the bird going up to the mirror? Can anyone tell it? Haridas looks like he can tell it. Can you take the mic? I heard you 3 gave very good lectures last night. Thank you. But there's a price for that. You have to go out and get engagements for yourself in colleges, yoga studios, and everywhere.
Okay. So there was a bird.
Loud.
There was a bird. Sorry. And he walked up to a mirror. He saw this other bird. And he looked at this other bird and he said, "Hey, "Who are you looking at?" And you know what that bird did? He looked right back at him. He said, "Looking at me?" And so he pecked him. And you know what the other bird did? He pecked him right back. He said, "Who are you pecking?" And so that bird, he started pecking him back, and then the same bird started pecking him back. So he just started peck, 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 until finally splat. His entire beak broke off, the mirror broke down, he split into pieces.
Good. That's the illusory struggle for existence in the material world. Okay, now we are in the forest of material enjoyment. The uncontrolled senses are like plunderers. The conditioned soul may earn some money for the advancement of Krishna consciousness, but unfortunately, the uncontrolled senses plunder his money through sense gratification. The senses are plunderers because they make one spend his money unnecessarily for seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, desiring, willing. In this way, he is obliged to gratify his senses. Prabhupada talked about one poem by a Vaishnava, and the poem said, so my senses demanded my service. So I served my senses, but still they weren't satisfied. They demanded more. And so then somebody might say to him, well, why don't you stop serving them if they're not satisfied? But the difficulty is, although they're not satisfied with my service, they're not kind enough to give me relief from that service. This is chaos. What do you win, Haridas? I see. In this way, he's obliged to gratify his senses, and thus all his money is spent. This money is actually acquired for the execution of religious principles, but it is taken away by the plundering senses. My dear king, who's the king? My dear king, family members in the material world go under the names of wife and children, but actually they behave like tigers and jackals. This is only the non-Krishna conscious wife, by the way. A herdsman tries to protect his sheep to the best of his ability, but the tigers and foxes take them away by force. Similarly, his family members take away all his assets forcibly, even though he is very vigilant. Every year, so like when you go out for preaching, don't see what your material senses tell you to see. What do you want to see through? The eye of Shastra. What's that called? Shastra Chaksus. Chaksus is eye, Shastra is scriptures. And also see through the eye of Gyan, Jnana Chaksus. So we want to see through what we're hearing from the scriptures. Otherwise, if we think that they're doing well, they look nice, arm in arm, nicely dressed, then we won't have the conviction. So on one side, we want to see and understand the value of the books that you're distributing or the words that you're saying. These books, one book cannot be bought with millions and millions of dollars, but we're giving you a discount. And if we don't see through the eye of scriptures, like, for example, if you're seeing somebody that looks like he's having a good time, what do you want to see? You want to see a river of pus, blood, stool, and urine, with the soul struggling, going in and out drowning, trying to come up, going under. Or what do you want to see? You want to see a soul covered by marrow, blood, bones, and walking like that. Nonetheless, the seeds lie there. Every year the plowman plows over his grain field, completely uprooting all the weeds. Nonetheless, the seeds still lie there and, not being completely burned, again come up with the plants sown in the field. Even after being plowed under, the weeds come up densely. Similarly, the grihastha, that is material grihastha ashram, family life, is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burnt out, it grows up again and again. Just like Hemangani and Viswambar have already given up the desire to enjoy family life. They're just two friendly souls serving Krishna together. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless retains the aroma of camphor. Which reminds me, when we're the ones who are the pujaris and we have a camphor lamp, don't forget to light the camphor. Sometimes the camphor is just there separately and it's not lit, or the camphor isn't there at all. Because we want the aroma of the camphor to come to the nostrils of the deities so that they can be happy. And one more point. I'll never tire of saying this. Can somebody or a group of you every day, whenever there's a program, Mangal Artik time, Japa time, Bhajan time, class time, can you put aroma in the temple? Huh? It's good today? It doesn't have to be intense, just sweet. Either by the, what's that thing you light? Yeah. Yeah, Paulizanta, all that. Essential oil steamer. Okay. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burnt out, it grows up again and again. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless retains the aroma of camphor. As long as the seeds of desire are not destroyed, fruitive activities are not destroyed. Sometimes the conditioned soul in household life, and how to do that? By replacing it with a desire to serve Krishna. How do you say that in Sanskrit? Krishna Seva Vasana, which is given by Shri Guru from Radharani. What's the difference between the seed of bhakti given by Guru and the seed of bhakti given by Krishna at the time of creation? Yes, difference. So the seed of bhakti that Krishna gives at the time of creation is the potential to serve him, or the potency to serve him in a specific way. You are Radhadasi in potency. You are Narayan Das in potency. And then the seed that Sri Guru gives is the seed of the creeper of bhakti, called what? Bhakti Lata Bij. So it's the seed of the creeper. Means the creeper starting from a dough. What's a dough? It means in the beginning, but that's a foundational meaning. Many lifetimes. of collecting Sukriti. And then I come in contact with Sadhu Sangha, Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. Ado, and then I get Shraddha, faith, by meeting the sadhus, and then I get initiated, and then I follow instructions. So the seed of that, that's what's given to. The other seed is already there, but it's in an Elmira. That's the words of who? Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. What's the use of a seed if it's in an Elmira? You know what an Elmira is? It's a cupboard. It doesn't grow. So you take it out of the Elmira and put it in the soil. That's what Sri Guru does. So sometimes the conditioned soul in household life, being attached to material wealth and possessions, is disturbed by gadflies and mosquitoes, and sometimes locusts, birds of prey, and rats who give him trouble. Nonetheless, he still wanders down the path of material existence. Due to ignorance, he becomes lusty and engages in fruitive activity. Because his mind is absorbed in these activities, he sees the material world as permanent, although it is temporary, like a phantasmagoria, a house in the sky. Sometimes in the house in the sky, the conditioned soul drinks, eats, and has sex. Being overly attached, he chases after the objects of the senses, just as a deer chases a mirage in the desert. Is he ever going to get it? Why? Because it doesn't exist. I'm going to ask for a summary, by the way, in a few minutes. Okay. Sometimes he's interested in the yellow stool known as gold and runs after it. That gold is the source of material opulence and envy. You can't have opulence without envy. And you're never satisfied because you want what the other person has, which you imagine to be more than you. There was a man who had a wife and a maidservant, and they were both sick. So they called the doctor, and the doctor took their temperature. And one had 100. What's the normal temperature? 98.6. So the wife had 100, and the maidservant had 105. So when the wife heard that the maidservant, this is Prabhupada's analogy, when the wife heard that the maidservant had more than her, she said, wait, I want a recount on that, with that thermometer. It was faulty. So what is this, yellow? Right. What is it when it's in the hand of a devotee? Then it's real wealth. So you can imagine that when you're going around, that's all they have. Those whose minds are overcome by the mode of passion are attracted to the color of gold, just as a man suffering from cold in the forest runs after a phosphorescent light in a marshy land, considering it to be fire. It's just a phosphorescent light in a marshy land, and he thinks, so it's going like that, and he thinks it's fire. Or like what was that, the deer running after the mirage in the desert. Sometimes he's absorbed in finding residential quarters or apartments and getting a supply of water and riches to maintain his body, absorbed in acquiring a variety of necessities. He forgets everything and perpetually runs around in the forest of material existence. Srila Prabhupada was giving a funny but sad but funny thing about Maya. When Maya engulfs the conditioned soul, he thinks, and he went just like I'm doing, I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. That's called haunted by the ghost of Maya. Sometimes, as if blinded by the dust of a whirlwind, the conditioned soul sees the beauty of the opposite sex, which is called pramada. Pramada means illusion. And at that time, his good senses are overcome by the force of passion. It's not even him, it's just the modes of passion driving him. Arjuna asks Krishna in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what is it that makes a person do something, even if he doesn't want to do it, as if by force? So Krishna answered, it is lust alone, Arjuna, which is born out of the mode of passion and later on transformed into wrath. That is the, what? But there was another adjective. All-devouring, sinful enemy of the world. Why? Because lust is never satisfied and burns like fire. If you want to put out a fire, what do? Give it fuel, because that's what it wants, right? No. That'll make it bigger. You don't give it food. He thus becomes almost blind with lusty desire and disobeys the rules and regulations governing sex life. What is the rules and regulations? What does Krishna say in the Gita? I am sex life, which is not devoid of religious principles. Means to have a child and performing ritualistic activities before that act. So Prabhupada, there's a whole bunch of things to do in the Satkriya Sardipika, but Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement off by saying, chant 50 rounds that day. So your consciousness will be good, so a good soul will come into you. Sometimes, as if blinded by the dust of a whirlwind, the conditioned soul sees the beauty of the opposite sex, which is called pramada. Being thus bewildered, he is raised up on the lap of a woman, and at that time his good senses are overcome by the force of passion. He thus becomes almost blind with lusty desires and disobeys the rules. Hare Krishna. He does not know that his disobedience is witnessed. Everything we do is witnessed by the demigods, by different demigods. And he enjoys illicit sex in the dead of night, not seeing the future punishment awaiting him. Nobody's here. Nobody sees, nobody knows. So the demigods are always watching. They're also everywhere. So that's why we never want to go naked even in our own shower, out of respect. The conditioned soul sometimes personally appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment. And he sometimes considers material enjoyment to be full of miseries. But due to his strong bodily conception, his memory is destroyed. And again, he runs after material enjoyment, just as an animal runs after a mirage in the desert. I know it's a mirage, but anyway, due to bodily conception. Sometimes the conditions, is this too much already? Sometimes the conditioned soul is very aggrieved. Wait till you get to the heavenly planets. Aggrieved by the chastisement of his enemies and government servants, who use harsh words against him, directly or indirectly. This is called miseries caused by other living entities. Enemies, the boss, the husband, the wife, the kids, the neighbor. At that time his heart and ears become very saddened. He was looking for happiness from his ears and heart, but instead they become sad. Does anybody know that painting I did? It's kind of all blue. Where is it? Is it anywhere? I don't think it ever made it into the art book. Santi didn't want it in there. Yeah. Is it in the art book? Did it make it? I thought you did. Oh. I hope so. Okay. All right, we'll get this. Such chastisement may be compared to the sounds of owls and crickets. Due to his pious activities in previous lives, he attains material facilities in this life. But when they are finished, he takes shelter of wealth and riches which cannot help him in this life or the next. What's the verse about wealth in the 11th canto? And virtual death for the soul. Because of this, he approaches the living dead. What? Because of this, he approaches the living dead who possess these things. Yikes. Did you hear that? So, if he did pious activities in his previous lives, he may get material facilities in this life. But when the results of pious activities is finished, then he takes shelter of wealth and riches, which cannot help him in this life or the next. Vasanti and I once sent out this Gurudev's lecture. It's called, what was it called about wealth? What? Easy money by Namaparad. By offending the holy name, wouldn't you expect that something bad would happen? Why would you expect easy money to come? Because if we have easy money, we spend it on sense gratification and then go to hell. It's Krishna's trick. Because of this, so because he wants wealth, which won't help him in this life or the next life. This is all Shastra Chaksus. And so when Prabhupada first came to America, they gave him a piece of paper when he first landed. Okay, welcome, and here are the rules. Cross at the green, not in between, vote, whatever the American rules are. I painted it for some book, I don't remember what. It was in Gurudev's first Bhagavad Gita. It didn't make it. Somebody said it was too gross. So we'll pass it around. Where was I? So when Prabhupada first came to America, they said, welcome, and here are the rules of being in America. So that's Shastra, the law book. And if you don't follow Shastra, what do you get? Shastra, which is the weapon. So the wealth and riches can help you in this life or the next. Because of this, so this is the Shastra Chaksus. And then if people don't follow this, then they get what it says you're going to get. Because of this, he approaches the living dead. Oh my God. Just imagine walking around on Sankirtan and seeing everyone as the living dead. That's inspiring for preaching. What? What? How are they like living dead? Loud? What? Oh, wow. Wow. Amazing. Because of this, he... What? Do that again? Wait. The music was going boom, boom, boom. But there was one saint there, and now he's here in the temple, Tirthapad Prabhu. And Hamangani picked up the saint. Okay, because of this, he approaches the living dead who possess these things. Yes, I have this for you. Such people are compared to impure trees, creepers, and poisonous wells. Sometimes, to mitigate distress in this forest of material world, the conditioned soul receives cheap blessings from atheists. He then loses his intelligence in their association. This is exactly like jumping into a shallow river, and then you break your head. He is not able, it's also called, Prabhupada explained, taking shelter of a stone boat, or a dog, the tail of a dog who's trying to swim. I mean, a dog can paddle like 2 or 3 things, but if he's trying to swim across the ocean and you take shelter of him, that's what happens. Both ways he suffers. As a result, one breaks his head. He is not able to mitigate his sufferings, even if someone, I remember in Prabhupada's first temple, back in 1966, Prabhupada said, even if you're a great swimmer, if you're trying to swim across the ocean, you'll be struggling. So the misguided, conditioned soul also approaches so-called sadhus and swamis who preach against the principles of the Vedas. Yes, how would I, as a swami and a sadhu, full sadhu, how would I preach against the principles of Vedas? You are one in all respects with God, and He's impersonal. Then you merge into that impersonal God and become Him. He does not receive benefits from them, either in the present or in the future. I'm just going to do one more. In this material world, when the conditioned souls cannot arrange for his own maintenance, despite exploiting others, he tries to exploit his own father or son, taking away that relative's possessions, although they may be very insignificant. If he cannot acquire things from his father, son, or other relatives, he is prepared to give them all kinds of trouble. Are there any questions? Oh, let's just do one. In this world, family life is exactly like a blazing fire in the forest. There is not the least happiness, and gradually one becomes more and more implicated in unhappiness. In household life, there is nothing favorable for perpetual happiness. Being implicated in home life, he is burnt in the fire of lamentation. Sometimes he condemns himself as being very unfortunate, and sometimes he claims that he suffers because he performed no pious activities in his previous life. So this is an introduction to the forest of material enjoyment. Good. You know what government men are? Carnivorous demons, rakshasas, man-eaters. isn't it? And we see that so bluntly these days. It says it here. Prabhupada said you can take it from the Vedas or you can take it from the common affairs. I'll read it again. Government men are always like carnivorous demons called rakshasas, man-eaters. Sometimes they turn against the conditioned soul. Protect yourself. Take this vaccine. Turn against the conditioned soul and take away all his accumulated wealth. Being bereft of his life's reserved wealth, the conditioned soul loses all enthusiasm. Indeed, it is as though he loses his life. What a mess. Let's give out that holy name and the holy books and the holy art, which is Gurudev's heart. Are there any questions? And then Champak has a question. Is she here? Champak? Is Champak here? She's not cooking. Is there any questions? Can somebody give her the mic? Eek, what a narration that was. Huh? Scary class, yeah.
Hi, Bo. I just wanted to get some clarification. How you said that there's Radha and Krishna can go through lengthy separation in the spiritual world, but I also thought that Radha and Krishna live the same day over and over again. So how can they
Wouldn't that get boring?
Is that not true either?
Huh?
That's not true either, that they go through the same, I mean, like, with some differences, but essentially, like, the same day over and over.
Can we do that further from the end of the class? Because that's a whole discussion. I know I've just asked for questions. So I guess if Champak's not here, I can answer your question.
Champakalata.
But then others would want to know it too. All right. Okay. All right, we can play it in class. Yeah. She's asking, what are you supposed to think about while you're putting on tilak? Very good question. I could spend so many lives putting on tilak and not get the advantage that I would get if I knew what to think. All right, so...
There she is.
All right, so we'll wait till the lecture comes then. All right. All right, so Jamuna's question is... Repeat.
I'm just asking that if Radha and Krishna are experiencing the same day over and over again with some differences, how can they have a lengthy separation in the spiritual world?
Okay. So, Radha and Krishna, their pastimes are always new. Nitya Navanabhaya Mana. Every moment is a new experience. They don't think it's the same. Not only don't they think it's the same day over and over again, but every time Srimati Radhika, for example, sees Krishna, she thinks she's never seen him before. And who is that amazing personality? Is that a sapphire? A sapphire? Or a cloud? A beautiful rain cloud? She just sees something wondrous. And so two things happen. The gopis, for example, everyone, but we'll take the gopis, because they're the most in it. Their love for Krishna increases at every moment. Even though there's no room for increase, it increases at every moment. Simultaneously, Krishna's beauty and qualities increase at every moment. So between the two things, their view of him and his actual identity, it just keeps going up and up forever. Even though there's no room for increase, it increases unlimitedly forever. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, there's no one is defeated, no one wins, because it's just a continual like that. But Gurudev said, even though he said that, we don't like to hear that. We always like to hear that the gopis won. And whenever the gopis see Krishna's beauty, they become so filled with joy that it makes their bodies more beautiful. And then when Krishna sees them and their beauty, his body becomes more beautiful. And that goes on forever. So there's no boredom there. Every day, every minute is a brand new experience. They do have what's called Astakaliya Lila. There are 8 parts of the day. They wake up, they get dressed, they get bathed, they go to the forest, but it's always new. In 2 books particularly, Govinda Lilamrita and Krishna Bhavanamrita, they both tell about these 8-fold pastimes. Like each one, 8-fold means there's 8 times of the day. Some is a little longer, some is a little shorter. Like you can average 3 hours for each part. And each part has a Sanskrit name. Nishanta Lila, Pradosh Lila, Pratak Lila, Midday Lila, Madhya Lila. So they do generally the same thing of waking up and getting dressed, and that's the extent of the sameness of it. But it's always in a different way, always new every day. And so these 2 books, they're just giving skeletons. The number of pastimes is unlimited. And it's ever fresh and new, and they see it in different ways. Like when Krishna goes to Mathura, he never really goes to Mathura in the spiritual world. He's eternally in Mathura. He's eternally in Dwarka. He never marries his 16,108 queens because they're always married. They have some sense of, yeah, we did get married, but it's only a sense. It's only a thought. But they never really got married because they're eternally married. All of Krishna's pastimes are eternal. No beginning and no end. And so then it always seems like Krishna's leaving. It always seems like Krishna's coming back, even though he doesn't come back. There's a part in my Art of Spiritual Life where I'm asking that question to Srila Gurudev. You wouldn't be able to find it, right? I asked him, because the Brihad Bhagavatamrita explains that Krishna doesn't kill Keshi in the spiritual world. He just defeats him and makes him like a horse that he rides on. And then I asked relative questions that how come we hear this and how come we hear that. Such an interesting answer. I don't want to mess it up by trying to repeat it, but I'd like to read it to you. So there's never any separation, but there's a sense of separation because without separation, meeting becomes boring. I think Tirtha was talking yesterday about the verse where Srimati Radhika says, "Oh Krishna, now I'm seeing you after such a long time," at Kurukshetra. Did you explain the meaning of that Sahitya Darpa verse? All right, so Lord Chaitanya is reciting a verse at the beginning of Ratha Yatra. And Rupa Goswami wrote a parallel verse about Kurukshetra. But Mahaprabhu, his verse was about, it's a mundane, amorous poetry. So, and if anybody heard Gaudiya Rasamrita yesterday, Gurudev's called on me to talk about it. Anybody hear that? Anyway, or maybe it wasn't yesterday's, maybe it was just on YouTube. Yeah, it was on YouTube. What I repeated from Srila Gurudev is that a wife is saying to her husband that, before we got married, it used to be where we'd have to hide, and we'd have to be in secret, and we'd always speak sweet nothings. And even though there were barriers against our love life, there was no barrier, we were free. But then we got married, and now we have a free pass to meet. Everybody's happy with our intimate meetings. And we have a stamped approval. But now it's boring, because there's no risk. And it's easy to meet. Before it was very, very hard to meet, and we'd have to sneak off and say, we'll meet here. So the wife is asking, can we just be unmarried again? Impossible. Therefore, it's a lamentation, a feeling of separation of those days. Similarly, Srimati Radhika, what's the verse? Huh? What?
I don't know the whole thing, I only know the first line.
Okay.
Priya so yam sahachari akuruketra militas. Priya so yam. Yeah.
Do you know the verse, Pehali? In the beginning, we had no messenger. It was only Cupid that brought us together. Can you learn those verses and then tell us tomorrow? Okay, good. Where was I? All right, so similarly, Radhika, can you say the English of that verse you just quoted? With a mic?
Radharani is saying that though I'm the same Radharani and you're the same Krishna, we're meeting here in Kurukshetra, it's not the same. I miss the sitting on the bank of the Yamuna under the Kadamba tree and feeling the breeze from the, like this.
Yamuna.
Yamuna.
Yeah, we're the same people. I'm the same beloved, you're the same lover. And we're meeting again in the moonlight. But it's not the same because when I look around, like at the first moment of meeting, it's wonderful. But when I look around and see your 16,000 queens, your infantry, the elephants, here at Kurukshetra, I'm not happy. I wish we can go back. See, the verse that Mahaprabhu was saying was, under the Vetasi. Okay, one sec. Under the Vetasi trees we were meeting in the month of Chaitra. The Vetasi, the thing about the Vetasi tree is that it's like when me and Navasanti were in Russia once, it had just been a storm and all the trees were broken over, just down. And there was a point where they broke. So with a Vetasi tree, it bends. Even if there's a cyclone, it doesn't break, it just goes with the wind. So before we were married, it was like under the Vetasi tree. There's nothing to stop us. But now it's just boring, it's not the same, it's not really a relationship. So let's be unmarried again, impossible. So Radharani is asking, now I see that you're married, you have 16,000 queens, you have an infantry, you're a prince, you have so many palaces. So even though we're the same, it's not the same. And I want to go back to before you left Vrindavan and went to Dwarka. Is that possible? Not possible. But really it never even happened. because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. That's why, if God does not have some inconceivable things, how can he be God? Vasanti? What? The flute on the fifth note.
Almost unaware of Mathura's loud street noises, just outside the Mat, the honking of rickshaw and taxi horns, in symphony with the Indian music bands.
Oh, this is my writing.
Yeah, blowing their trumpets and beating their variety of drums, and the food sellers loudly calling out the names of their wares. I asked Gurudev, you requested me to read Srila Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There in the last volume, Gopakumar tells some pastimes about the bull demon, Aristasura, and the horse demon, Keshi. There seems to be some differences between the histories told there and the same ones told in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam relates the pastimes of Krishna killing those demons, and Brihad Bhagavatamrita states that he didn't kill them. It says that he simply harnessed Aristasura as a bull for his cart, and Keshi became one of the horses he rode in Vrindavan. I was remembering our BBT paintings of these two pastimes. Gurudev replied with concern, we will have to reconcile all these facts. God may give you the intelligence to understand. I felt like I was in kindergarten. He continued, both facts are true to the highest extent. Srimad Bhagavatam and Brihad Bhagavatamrita are the same. Srimad Bhagavatam has told us that Lord Krishna killed Keshi. That is true, but after that, Keshi went to Goloka. There he again took the form of a horse, and Krishna performed some pastimes with him. Sometimes Krishna rode on him here and there. Both sastras are the same. Do you understand? I was more than satisfied with his reply and responded with a plea for reconciliation on another topic. Brihad Bhagavatamrita states that when Akrura came to take Krishna to Mathura on his chariot, Krishna descended it just before the journey and entered the forest with the gopis. Then when Akrura and Balaram came to get him and bring him back to the chariot, the gopis again didn't want him to go. Because Akrura was planning to bring him to Vasudeva Maharaj and Devaki, whom he considered to be Krishna's real parents, the gopis told Akrura, you are a liar. Mother Yashoda is Krishna's real mother. They also told Krishna, even if you say that you have to go to kill the demon Kamsa in order to protect the Yadu dynasty, we still don't want you to go. I continued with as much intelligence as I could muster. It appears that the gopis are not compassionate to Devaki, Vasudeva, and the Yadus because they wanted to stop Krishna from leaving Vrindavan. How do we understand that they are compassionate and not selfish? Gurudev easily gave the reconciliation. The gopis are giving the argument that to save the lives of hundreds of thousands, one may be killed. And this will not... Can we put your phone on silent? Whoever said it. Oh. Gurudev easily gave the reconciliation. The gopis are giving the argument that to save the lives of hundreds of thousands, one may be killed. And this will not be an offense. Do you understand? To save one life and kill thousands is not good. The gopis are saying there in Mathura, only Vasudeva and Devaki will be killed by Kamsa, but here everyone will be killed. Everyone will be killed automatically, but their grief caused by feelings of separation from Krishna, not by Kamsa. Krishna is the life and soul of the gopis and gopas. Without him, we will automatically die. On the other hand, Devaki and Vasudeva will not be killed if Kamsa does not kill them. It may be that Kamsa will be checked and they will be saved, but here everyone will surely die. Maybe. There's like a few more paragraphs, but it's not about that. No.